Hi, this is Kim Ellis from Checkered Flag Media, and I'm sitting here with Mark Patterson and Matt Bell from United Autosports. We are doing a little bit of a challenge this race weekend for all the drivers. Now, I'm going to start out by asking you a quick question. I know that drivers, they say when they're preparing for a race, one of the things you do is you sit and drive laps in your head. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is it fair to say that you could almost drive the track with your eyes closed?
I would say so.
Oh, that's super. Could you draw it with your eyes closed?
Right then. Open my mouth too soon, I think.
Never.
Right then.
We're kind of doing a challenge with all the drivers this weekend, seeing who will get
Closest?
the closest.
All right.
Right, okay.
You actually have a little bit of an edge up on some of the previous drivers because we were standing outside. It was cold. I was holding the pad of paper and I didn't do it.
Well, don't mention that. Let's not say that.
All right.
Keep
Who
that
wants
one
to go?
quiet.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because then he can just copy it.
Mark's an artist still. That's
No, no,
important.
shh. So let's start. You tell me when I'm off the page here, but we start on the thing straight, right? The Formula One straight. We got a right-hand turn here. You got this thing here straight. This little guy. This little guy. Oh, wait a minute. It goes that way, doesn't it? It goes down there. So Cops goes over here. I mean Luffield, etc. And then you have to come back on here, on Cops, correct? Go here, and then you go do, excuse me, and then you go here to Chapel, right? And then you go left down, Hanger straight down to Stowe, and then Stowe goes all the way down here. Vale is like this, and then onto that.
Wow.
Silverstone.
Wow. That was. You
Perfect.
almost.
I ran out of
almost-
space here.
It would be an interesting circuit though, wherever it
So it's a
is.
bit of an off-track excursion here, I think. Now, the next thing we're asking is if you would kindly autograph it because we are going to, at the end of the weekend, try to auction these off for charity somewhere.
Okay.
Silverstone-ish.
All right, so now we have two co-drivers
I think I'm going to
competing
go.
against each
I'm going
other.
to go this way. I think.
It's much smarter. I figured that out when I ran out of
Alright.
paper.
Eyes closed.
So down the straight, going through Abbey. Next bit. What should be there? That's out like that. Brooklands, Luffield. I think I might have gone off the page there. Cops should be down here. Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, down to Stowe, into Vale, and last corner, and up.
So close.
It's almost Imola.
We've got a bit.
It's bloody good.
There.
Oh, no, it's a terrible. I mean, I've drawn only part a little bit.
You know, when we actually planned this challenge, I thought that people would do a bit more comical drawings, but
they come
these
out okay.
really are looking
Could
like
have, could
Silverstone.
have continued.
Ooh, number 3, yeah.
There we go.
I forgot that.
Awesome.
Let's put
Well-
number 3 on here somewhere.
All right. Well, Mark,
Yes.
I heard that right before one of the test days, you had a surgery.
Yes. How do you hear that?
Well,
Didn't even tell me that.
no.
It was not what you think it is.
Now I'm curious how that. Well, I heard that it was. How much before the test day was it?
A couple of days. It was
Couple of
more
days.
than enough.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't let you out of a hospital without a signature. Somebody has to come sign you out, which I thought was a ridiculous demand. So I got somebody to come. My wife was in Mexico, and so stupid to fly her back just to let me out. So somebody did it for me, and but the next day it all came to light. It's mandatory that you do that because I had no clue that I walked out of the hospital. I left the front door of the house open. Only found that the next day. But I was working out the next evening for an hour, so nothing wrong.
Wow. Well, I was going to say because it's pretty impressive that you went from that and then right into the race car. Did you feel any
No.
residuals from the surgery?
No.
Nope. So you felt great.
No.
Wow.
No. If you do this to a cat or a dog, they're up and around in a day as well.
I
No,
think
no.
I wouldn't be. I think I wouldn't be. But anyway, I was just very curious about that. So no recovery time,
Zero.
pretty much.
No,
at all.
I mean a day.
Well, we're
and
happy to have you back.
Feels good.
And that kind of segues into, how do you guys prepare for race season? I know during the off season, do you let yourself kind of maybe take a lot of luxuries or a couple of luxuries that you don't take during the regular season, or do you stay at the same level of performance all year long?
Well, for me personally, kind of the race season has kind of become a year-long thing, really. I was in December and January preparing for the Bathurst 12-hour with Bentley down in Australia. So for me, I kind of had to sort of look after myself the whole winter period and keep on top of things, as well as a little bit of winter testing here and there. So no, there was no time off for me, unfortunately. I think Mark's been chilling out a little bit in Mexico, things over the winter.
But I do 1 to 3 sports a day down there, so I don't take off trying to stay in shape. But there's 3 months that I raced in South Africa in December, did the 24-hour Daytona Historics in November. So those aren't all that demanding. But so I did a little bit more racing in the American winter than I would normally do. But just biking, kayaking, swimming, golf. Staying off-road bikes, just staying in shape so that when the season comes, we're ready to go.
Excellent. Well, can you tell me just a little bit about how you're looking forward to 2016 and anything that you'd like to share with us?
Well, it's obviously, for me, I'm really excited about it. It's a new challenge for me moving into prototype racing. I've only ever driven GT cars, so I was quite excited to get a bit of a feel for it. Mark's told me an awful lot from his LMP2 exploits about those, high downforce, late braking, all that sort of thing. So far in testing, really been enjoying that. And the other thing that's been quite exciting, obviously, apart from getting back in the car with Mark, which I've got a bit of experience with in British GT, it's always brilliant to drive with Mark. But in all the tests that we've been doing, we've been at the top end of the times, which has been encouraging, and it's continued so far today. So we're looking competitive as well as everybody enjoying the car. So I think things are at the moment looking relatively optimistic.
We should be good in the snow tomorrow.
That was actually a question I was going to ask. Did you bring snow tires?
We brought a new weather.com app, and we think that'll prevail.
Just keep changing the app till it says what you want, I think.
One thing to let you know, I'm typically not on this side of the camera. Usually I am standing trackside. I'm a marshal. This is the first time I've done this, I wanted to ask you guys, if you have any moment in your career where a marshal kind of saved you and you'd like to give a shout out, where you were really glad that you had a marshal trackside.
I've been fortunate enough to never be in that position, but we do have a little bit of a sort of a United Autosports group of Marshall fans, I think, who always supported us in British GT. I remember when we won the last race at Donington Park in British GT 3 years ago, they'd made a flag just for us that they held. I remember them holding it up. It was I remember the Marshall post they were on. It was between in the middle of the Melbourne Loop at Donington Park. So yeah, we're a great little group of guys that support the team and support us wherever we go. So always a shout out to those guys. I think they're coming as they won a team competition for this weekend, so they're actually coming as a team guest.
Oh, how cool!
So we'll get to see them, and so yeah, we're always supporting marshals wherever we go, because the test day so far has been pretty torrential weather, and all those guys are out there just in their hoods, looking after us and keeping us all safe. So yeah, it's a tough job, but we should always appreciate them for.
I was doing the testing at Le Mans last year in the LMP2 with Murphy, and by mistake, without guidance, I was unaware of it, but I was doing about 13 Ks quicker going into Porsche curves than the two pro drivers, and that probably isn't a recipe for stability. And I found the point of no adhesion, and put all 4 corners into the wall. And I got to tell you that the promptness and the professionalism with which all those corner workers came together to help me get out of the car and all that stuff was amazing. It was a pretty high G-force hit, destroyed the car, but at the time you never imagine you're going to have an incident like that. When you do, to have people who've seen it before, done it before, they take control, they calm everything down. It's pretty admirable stuff, because if you were there on your own, I think you'd have a lot of worries beyond the worry of repairing the car. And very, very nice to have the knowledge that if something really goes wrong with you or someone else in your team on the car, everybody's safe as a house with those corner workers. It feels good.
Well, I'm sure they'll appreciate hearing that. Right before I did this interview, I went on social media and I asked if anybody had a question for you guys. And one person came back and said they want to ask, it's Sarah Rigby, Petrolhead Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Said, when or where did Mark learn to be such a superb artist / cartoonist? She says she stand at several autograph sessions and she watches you draw cartoons for people.
Yes.
And she's wanted one for quite a long time, but she wants to know, is there a story behind that?
Mad Magazine. If once a month you can buy Mad Magazine. They have a collection of maybe 15 great artists. And as a child, back in South Africa, I used to spend 50% of my weekly pocket money buying that thing once a month. And so I started to draw those, off that. And then one day I looked at a real face. But it has to be, if you're only a half decent artist, you have to have very extreme subjects. So I can't draw ordinary faces. I have drawn Matt. No. And,
that was one of his first subjects.
No, Sarah did use the term superb artist, so you're superb.
Because I picked the subject matter. If somebody brings you a child with no creases, it's almost impossible for an average artist to draw them. But people my age, far better with lots of creases. I don't draw women. There's just no upside. But I enjoy it a lot, and there's always half a dozen faces that come wandering by our signature sessions that are well worth drawing. Actually, at where was it? It was Imola, and I drew a caricature of this phenomenally crinkly faced guy with a grey beard, beautiful guy, and he handed me his card. He's the official artist for Ferrari. That was an oops. I wouldn't have done that.
He quickly took it under the chair. Yeah.
He took it with him. He took it home.
On the last few laps of the race, especially if you're really up there contending, doing well, do you have a song maybe that goes through your head that kind of gets you through? Do you have a winning song or a finishing song that just keeps you going?
Not for me, no, because whenever I've been in that position, I've always had someone either to race up ahead of me or look after behind, so normally just a little bit preoccupied.
If you could pick one.
If I had to put something, maybe, I don't know, we'll go to Mark and then come back to me on that one, I think, put the pressure on you there.
I got to tell you, in all kinds of sports that end with the pressure at the top and at the end, I've never relied on anything else other than complete focus on achieving the good place we've attained and just preserving it to the end. I've never sung anything until I get pretty happy when we get out of the car.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, there'll probably be some Willie Nelson song about cowboys in the clouds, or I have no idea. The song is the last thing that I play the guitar a little bit too, but I never think about a song in the car. Do you?
No, not for me. I'm not a particularly musical person either, so that's. I'm always just shouting and screaming down the radio once I've won something, rather than it's completely out of tune. You wouldn't want to put it to a song, so I'll probably just leave it at that.
All right. Do you have an interesting, humorous, or funny anecdote you'd like to tell on one of your team members or?
Not in front of Matt.
Crew members. Nope.
Well, we must have the funniest engineer on the whole grid. Flower.
Yeah.
His name is Paul Haig. But
Probably worth an interview on his own, actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He might destroy the camera, but he's just a perpetual string of good humor and upbeat spirit. So I don't have any one story. There are 10,000 stories about Flower. He's a very positive vibe.
All right. And to end up the interview, can you both take 5 words to describe you as your character or as a driver?
I don't know if I can stretch to 5.
3 then.
The vocabulary goes that far, but try to be relaxed, focused and determined, I would say. Probably the 3 I would go for.
Well, he had 2 of the words that were going through my head. Focused, determined. I think slow is a bit better than fast for me.
All right. Well, thank you both for your time.